Hello, 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 hello. I still got my red shirt on. Like I said, all of this was recorded in all one day. So I'm not going to change anything. Not even the hairstyle change. All right, y'all see what I'm looking like. But anyway, moving right along. Welcome to episode 7, Space Cruise. And Andean is about to take herself a little space cruise. Because see, y'all know what? People be sleeping on Andean. Andean is always up to something. Okay, and there's a reason why she's going to the planet Rouge. Alright, and you probably have figured it out, but it's all good. So we're going to see what's going to happen when Andeat and Liz and a couple of the defenders take their space cruise out, and we'll find out what they find. Alright, I'll see y'all in episode 8. Check it out. Introduction to the planet Creole, where women work, where women rest, where girls learn, where there are no men from Earth who will survive, where battles are fought, the planet Creole. Scene 1. Liz was ready. She showed up at Andeat's house early in the morning. They had taken the ship on a test run around the planet, and the sail was smooth. What's up? Liz said. Hi. Approached her. Andeat was out in the front of the house. Where's our aircraft? I took it to the airfield. I take it Ruby knows about it by now? Yes, she knows about it. They hopped into Andeat's car and headed to the airfield, taking the scenic route. They met 2 defenders at the airfield. Liz wondered why she was taking defenders. She thought this would be a leisurely trip. Andeat, I thought this was a fun trip we were going on. Policy states that I am supposed to bring at least 1 defender when leaving Creole. Since when do you adhere to policy, Andeat? She knew her friend was full of it. They both laughed. And that was the first time she actually heard a chuckle come out of Andeat. Andeat had to remind her that the energy of Earth women was rubbing off on her, yet in a positive way. They boarded the spacecraft. Andeat got behind the control board with Liz as her co-pilot, and they were off. 17, 24, 16, 19, and we are headed out into space. The craft sailed through the atmosphere. They passed Cousin before Dark Planet, subsequently the planet Rouge. Liz wondered why they decided to land on Rouge, but she would soon find out. Scene 2. Ruby got word that Andeat had arrived on Rouge. Ruby had never been on that planet before. Have a lovely time. Let me know if you find anything interesting over there. I am sure there are some things I will find interesting. I will not only tell you, but return with it. Sounds good. Now, how did the new ship perform? The new ship performed very perfectly, Ruby. Very smooth. Oh, it sounds like so much fun. I can't wait to go on a journey with you. But listen, you girls be safe and have fun. Once Ruby hung up, she updated Jackie on what was going on. Sounds like they're having a lot of fun, but I would bet you that Andean is up to something. Maybe not. They could be out just having fun. Leisurely fun, Jackie. We ought to do space cruises more often. I don't know why we don't. Jackie sipped from her cup before saying, That's because we enjoy crowds so much. Well, that's true, but taking space cruises should be something we should start putting on our calendars and agendas. Yeah, but Ruby, when does Andean do anything that is not driven by some kind of purpose? Ruby could not deny that, but she hoped Andean wasn't up to something. Whatever she's doing, I'm sure it would be for a good reason. Scene 3. Andean and her crew disembarked from the spaceship. The fact that Planet Rouge was halfway dark confirmed the suspicion she had earlier. She knew they'd arrived at the right place. Now, if she could find what she was looking for, she would be fine. Wow, this is amazing, Liz said, taking in the environment. The colors were weird, red and yellow, and there were areas where it seemed so dark it was like a black hole. They set up a table with food and began eating. They listened to the music coming from their spaceship while they enjoyed their meal. What are we going to do after we eat, Andean? We will go on an exploration venture. Soon, they were trekking through the land of Rouge. There isn't much out here, is there? Liz asked. She noticed all of them, including the defenders, were walking with them. Usually one defender would remain on the ship. I think it is beautiful, but in 2 months, the whole place will be dark and remain that way until March. That's almost 4 months, Liz said. They found several items that Liz intended to take home with her, but something peculiar happened. Liz found an old ribbon that looked like it was yellow at one time. It was dirty and it seemed to be deteriorating. Look at this, Andean. Andean took the ribbon and examined it. She looked around as if she thought someone was nearby. This was a hair ribbon. Where did you get this ribbon? Right here, on the ground. Ooh, that's crazy. That didn't just appear here by chance. Somebody's been here before. One of the defendants said, and Andean confirmed. Life is possible on this planet. Yeah, but who's here? And where? Exactly. We could be in danger, Liz said to the defender. Liz, you have to be fearless if you want to keep associating with me. They continued on their way, and Liz noticed Andean placed the old tattered ribbon into her pocket. They headed into the darker zone, and that's when they stopped. Visibility was low. Andean closed her eyes as if she was concentrating on something. Andean, you okay? The defender asked her. I am just fine. But Liz knew she was looking for something in particular. Let us head back to the spacecraft now, Andean said all of a sudden, and that sort of frightened Liz. The 5 of them headed back to the spaceship. Once they returned, one of the defenders was the first person to notice it. Food was missing. The table had been turned over and all of their citrus fruit was gone. Hey y'all, look at this. The defender said she raised her weapon, poised to attack. Andean did not look worried at all. She told her, "There is no need for your weapon, Christina. Please rest your weapon." Are you kidding? It could be an animal or something out here. Listen, Andean, I'm telling you, I'm not getting killed out here, okay? Please rest your weapon, Christina. Andean knelt down, picked up the purple fruit from the ground, and examined the bite mark. It was as if whomever it was had sampled every item from their table, and all of the water they left in the bottle that was on the table was gone, and the bottle was lying on the ground. They heard a rustling sound. The two defenders, Christina and Alicia, raised their weapons, but Andeat held up her hand, insisting on them not shooting. They had them aimed at where they heard the rustling sound. Reluctantly, they lowered their weapons. "Hey, I did not come out here to get killed, okay?" Christina said. Liz was the only one who did not seem alarmed. Her full trust was in Andean. The group followed Andean in the direction of where the sound was coming from. They saw movement through a short set of shrubs. "Come out, whoever you are. Come out or we will shoot," Christina ordered. Slowly, the person stepped from behind the bushes. All they could see was massive curls on the person's head and a dirty face. The person was no taller than 4.5 feet. Liz could have sworn she saw tears in Andean's eyes. "Luki? Andean, it's you." They headed in each other's direction and hugged. Others in the group looked at each other, wondering what in the world was going on here. There are actually two Andeats? Luki. Andean said, touching the other girl's hair. "Andean, thank you for coming to get me. Thank you. I knew you would come." "I did not know you were here until I heard you call out. I was on Dark Planette for years. I just returned to Creole." "Take me home. Please, take me home." "You are going home. How did you get here?" Luki began telling the story of how she ended up on the planet Rouge. "When we were invaded," she told her how the Cousiners captured her and took her to Cousin after everyone was killed and tortured for years until they were done having their fun. And finally they put her on the ship, took her out to space, and released her, and she landed on Rouge where no one was around, and she survived on tree bark. Whenever it would get dark, those 6 months she would sleep. She learned to gather whatever she could, eat, and stockpile for when the days happened again. "And when I realized you were on Creole, I called out to you." Silence hung over the group, listening to Luki tell them of all the suffering she had endured. Andean had endured a similar suffering on Dark Planette. "So what are we going to do now, Andean?" Liz asked. Andean looked at her and she said, "I am taking my sister home with me." Soon they were back on the ship and headed to Creole. But Andean had to make one stop on the way. Liz knew something was up when Andean told her to take over the piloting. Scene 4. Liz's suspicions were confirmed when their ship started headed towards Kuzan at a speed of 3750. At first, Liz thought they would careen and crash right into the planet until she heard the noise. Andean emitted a bomb from the spacecraft and dropped it on Kuzan, and all the crew could see was an explosion as the sky lit up. Now let me shoot. Lukeet cheered her on. I cannot allow you until I train you. It was all clear now, Liz thought. Andean had built that ship with the ability to fight because she had been planning this all along. And the ship was small and swift. Just as soon as she dropped that bomb, they sped off, headed back to Krail. The Kuzaners did not know what hit them, and by the time they were able to assess their situation, Andean and her crew would be safely back on Krail. Andean, what was that about? Christina, the one defender, asked. They assaulted and tried to kill my sister. If they want a fight, I will bring it to them. No, Andean, no, please. What if they retaliate? If they do, then I will be ready, but they won't. Andean, you just put the entire population of Krail at risk. If they survive, they won't. And if they come for me, Christina, I will finish them off. They headed back to the airfield where Ruby awaited their return. She was oddly elated to see their new arrival until Andean introduced her sister to Ruby. I see a striking resemblance, and look at all of this hair. Welcome home, Lukeet. Thank you. I am happy to be with my sister. Ruby did not miss that little twinkle in Lukeet's eyes. She said, "Come to my home, girls. I have prepared a meal for you." It would be my pleasure. They headed to Ruby's house, where Lukeet told Ruby about how she was captured and taken to Rouge. Andean felt herself wanting to drop another bomb on Kuzan, hearing that story all over again. But Andean, avenge the injustice done to me. Ruby raised her eyebrows and said, "Oh yeah. And how is that so?" She dropped a bomb on Kuzan. They won't come here ever again. Ruby looked at Andean and she nodded at Ruby. She is my sister. I will protect her with all of my strength. Andean then noticed Ruby looking uncomfortable, and she added, "Don't you worry. They will never attack us again." That's not what concerns me, Andean. But the Philippians have formed an agreement to help rebuild Kuzan. Kuzaners are savages. They will not appreciate any effort on the part of Flep to lend them support. Their landscape may change, but not their way of thinking and behaving. That's right. For many years, we helped them, gave them resources, shared food with them, and they still attacked us. Nothing good comes out of Kuzan. Lukeet piped in. For Flep to help Kuzan is a direct betrayal of Krail. Andean said resolutely, and Ruby had to concede. Andean and Lukeet were true Krailians, natives of this solar system. They knew more about the others in that part of the universe than Ruby could ever imagine. They continued enjoying their meal and forgetting about those horrible Kuzaners. Scene 5. Andean could not wait to get Lukeet home with her. Liz would have come along, but she wanted the sisters to spend some time together without her intrusive presence. Andeat showed her sister to her room, and as soon as she retreated to her room, she received a universal communication call from Oki, of all people. Andeat, I see you have made it hard for us to realign Kuzin for civilization. They kidnapped and held Lukit until they dumped her into space with the intent to kill her. She landed on Rouget. They did to her what they did to me. Oki just listened. Silence then hung between them. Then he finally said, "You should have notified me of your intentions. You were reckless because you were on board with civilians when you decided to declare war in space. You negated all the leveling up we had been working on with the Kuziners. Andeat will not let them harm me anymore. Where were you Fleppians when we were attacked, kidnapped, and killed?" Lukit said. "Where did you get the fighter cruiser, Andeat?" "I built it myself." "Did you in fact build it for the purpose of attacking Kuzin?" "I will not cruise out in space without protection, Oki." "Andeat, how much protection do you need? I've known you to be destructive in the past." "I only destroy to defend." "What you did to the Kuziners was not defense." "It was delayed defense. They are not to get away with killing my sisters." Oki knew he would have to fix this. He knew the Fleppians should be held responsible for what happened to the Kralian women. What could he say? Guilt overwhelmed him. He could not argue with Andeat about this. They should have been there to protect their women. He also knew he would have to prevent the Kuziners from ever trying that again. "Andeat, I appeal to you to communicate with me of any intentions you have to either defend or retaliate. Is that a deal?" "Yes, and be sure to communicate with the Kuziners to leave us alone once and for all. If anything comes my way, I am going in." "That's fair enough. You are still my best love, little sister." "Same here, Oki." Lukit piped in and said, "Oki, where is Yukai?" "I will dial him in just a moment." Once Yukai showed up on the screen, he became excited to see Lukit. "Where have you been? We thought you were gone forever." Lukit told him all about what happened and how she'd been exiled to Rouget. "How did you survive?" "From the bark of the trees, and whenever it would rain, no one was on Rouget." "That's because before they invaded Krell, they invaded and killed the citizens of Rouget. Flep is the only planet they have not attacked. We are trying to work on civilizing the Kuziners, but your sister just set us back 600 more years." "You can try as you will, Yukai. You will never civilize those savages. They are useless and need to be annihilated forever." "I understand you have a personal interest in seeing to their destruction, They should have never mistreated my sister. It would have been better for them if I had never found Lukit than for me to find out what happened. I found her just in time before Rouget became dark again. She would not have survived another season of darkness. Look at her face." Yukai could not argue with her. He looked over at his brother Oki. Then he pivoted it and asked Lukit, "When can I see you again?" "Anytime. I am not leaving Krell." Scene 6. The doorbell rang when Ruby was having her evening lull sip, a wine that was made from a red vine that grew on Krell as well as Flap. Oki had brought her a bottle of it when they had their alliance meeting. She wondered who could be at her door at this hour. She was wearing a white satin robe and matching slippers. She headed to the door, surprised to see Danielle standing there. Danielle, won't you step in? What brings you by? I have some concerns, Ruby. I'm just gonna get right down to it. Sure, have a seat. Ruby made a sweeping gesture to the sofa across from where she sat in the armchair. Do you think Andean should be sanctioned for attacking Cousin? Ruby raised her hand before answering. Danielle, there is nothing I can do about that. I thought you were the leader of this globe. That whole voting idea was yours, Danielle, might I remind you. Because there should be some sort of law and order on the planet. And there is, Danielle. Haven't you checked? Doesn't seem like it to me. Seems like Andean would be allowed to run wild and handle things her way when she doesn't like something. What was Danielle really afraid of, Ruby wondered. Miss Reed, they brutalized and tortured her younger sister. Well, I feel if she were to do that, she should have gotten administrative authorization for it. She will put us all at risk with this recklessness. Danielle, I cannot do anything about Andean's way of handling matters on her planet. She's been through an ordeal that you and I would have never survived. Besides, if there was anything I could do, I would not. Added to that is the fact that she has total immunity. Well, I will be contacting the board. There is nothing they would do either. You are not listening to me. I hear you, but you're not hearing me. Okay, I'll grant you the floor. Go on. What she did could cause those Cousiners to retaliate. We are at risk, Ruby. Can't you see that? We are not at risk. We have Philippian support, and might I remind you of our own ability to defend. We have 239 trained defenders and a security force on staff around the clock. Where were those Philippians when they allegedly attacked the Planette before? Danielle was determined not to be outdone. She was a fourth-class narcissist. That was then. This is a new day. Things have changed. Or is it that where you're from on Earth, you are resistant to change? Stands the reason for the mentality that you have. I resent you making such a remark, as if I'm some backwoods floozy who was ignorant. You were the one who said you would welcome my ideas, work with me, when you were officially elected. Perhaps your age makes you forget, Ruby. Ruby smiled and retorted, Oh, Danielle, I have never felt better. And yes, I welcome any idea you have within reason or makes any sense. I'll figure out a way to get control over that little renegade, Danielle said before she headed to the door. Ruby raised her wine glass and said, Good luck with that. And let me know how that works out for you. Danielle slammed the door behind her and Ruby just laughed. Oh, my, my, my.